The Back of the Net podcast in partnership with sweetpatch.tv with Odd Conflict.
What's up, mother lickers? My name is Conflict.
Welsh Dragon DSG.
What's up, guys? It is Welsh Dragon DSG here.
Mr. Sam Bookerman.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another squad builder.
And Irish Welsh Celt. And it's coming up now, live on iTunes and YouTube. Enjoy.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the BOTN podcast, week 3 of season 2 in partnership with the one and only MyFIFACareer. Welcome back, guys. I want to mention one thing. We've got a return of Alex. He's finally here.
I'm back. I am not dead, but Dave and Adam are. I was asleep last week. I would have been here, but priorities.
Yeah, you know, sleep is vitally more important. And we were tweeting you quite a bit. That's the thing. There was nothing. And I think it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that, we heard off him.
Oh, I know, man. My schedule's been so messed up. But once I'm asleep, I could sleep through World War III. It's ridiculous.
Speaking of that, that's trending at the moment on Twitter. And you can see there as well, we do have a special guest this week. Be able to see him there. He is waving at us. His one and only ChesnoidGaming. How are you doing, man?
I am very good, my man. Thank you very much. How are the two of you?
I am very good.
I'm
very
great.
Good, thank you. Sweet. Anyway, Alex, you want to tell us what's coming up on the show?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of topics today. It's a rant-packed episode. Obviously, we've got Ches here, so we're going to ask him some questions. We've got the hashtag going on Twitter. If you don't follow us already, go and follow at BOTN podcast and interact with us over there. So we had hashtag Ches on BOTN, and we're going to ask him some questions, YouTube-related, life-related, penis size-related. No. We're also going to talk some real-life football and FIFA news. We've got record breaker Vardy out in real life and on the game. His card on Ultimate Team is here. And we're going to talk mainly about a FIFA 17 career mode wish list. Yeah, anything else? The accumulator. I'm talking to myself. We have a 5-fold for Saturday's games. And about £87 you could win if you stick a tenner. So
yeah, we've actually gone a bit all out and we've decided to put a tenner on it, which is something we not normally do. It's usually £1. That's literally our top. That's literally it. Are you a bit of a betting man, Chess, or?
I was, and then I kind of got a little bit too addicted to betting on football, so I had to stop because I was spending too much money on it.
It is, mate, especially when you're doing accumulators. When you think about it, you put per £1 on.
It's like, I'll just put £5 on this. Oh, I'll put that. That's a decent £10 treble.
Yeah.
Well, they're clearly going to win, so I'll shove £20 on that, and then you're like, oh shit, none of them came in, and now I've lost 50 quid.
Yeah,
So
that's how it is.
Oh, it's like this season, you bet on Chelsea to win every week, don't you, Ches? And they don't do it week in, week out.
If I was still betting on football, I wouldn't be betting on Chelsea. I definitely wouldn't be betting on Chelsea.
That's kind of a question. Lloyd Alexander asked this on Twitter, right? What's the best and the worst bit of being a Chelsea fan?
The best bit is getting to see some of the world's best players play every week and play good football when they're on form. The worst thing is probably the fact that people will call you a plastic fan regardless of any sort of knowledge as to why you're a Chelsea fan whatsoever. You could have been a Chelsea fan for 40 years, but because you're supporting Chelsea, you're plastic. That's probably the most annoying thing or the worst thing about being a Chelsea fan. So people just disregard you as a football fan completely because of the team that you support.
How come you actually supported Chelsea then? Is it kind of just a life thing, or have you?
I've been a Cambridge United fan my entire life, and a friend that I go to Cambridge United with is a lifelong Chelsea fan. Cambridge been in the conference for a decade, and we went to a Chelsea game together, and I'm used to like 3,500, 4,000 people at a game. You go to Stamford Bridge, it's overwhelming, and I was just completely fell in love with Premier League football. Like, I'd not really bothered that much with BPL football or Match of the Day or any of that sort of thing. I was just solely concentrated on the lower leagues and the non-league stuff, but it just completely blew me away. So it was 2010, I think, was my first Chelsea game.
Really? Yeah.
And then, people say you're a plastic Chelsea fan. I went to started in the season that we won the double with Ancelotti, the BPL and the FA Cup, and then we didn't win anything for 2 years, so I couldn't really be a plastic fan. If anything, I was a bad luck charm because we didn't win anything as soon as I started supporting them. So, but yeah, that's how I ended up supporting Chelsea. But Cambridge are my first team.
actually, Chelsea have actually got a nice seat. I've been to Chelsea a few times as well, to their games, and you have to say, I usually sit, I can't think where I actually sit now, where end it is, but you have to say the atmosphere there is actually quite good. It is quite a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, it's really good for European games. It's much better for European games. That's the only thing with it being a bigger club, but it's not that big a ground. You get a lot of day trippers at home games. So the atmosphere doesn't tend to be that good at home games, but for away games, there aren't many sets of fans that are better than Chelsea fans, in my opinion.
I've kind of been lucky, right? Because I've been to the games I've gone to. I think it's when they beat West Brom like 6-1 a couple of years ago.
Malouda was on fire that day.
Yeah, that's the games I've gone to.
Yeah, I've never been to Chelsea away. I've obviously been to Hull City every home game that we've played against Chelsea. 3-2 last season. That was a cracker of a game. And then I remember when we got beat 4-0 in the League Cup. That's when we started to be less of an awful team.
less of an awful team.
Yeah, but
that's what I was thinking.
No, being a Hull fan, living in Hull, it's like 5.5, 6 hours away from Chelsea, and Chelsea's tickets are like 50 quid for an adult, and it's like 30, 40 quid for travel. It is mad.
So that's the thing with me, right? For people who don't know, I am a Blackburn fan, and because I live down in South Wales, getting up there is a good 3.5 hour, 4 hour journey just to get into Lancashire. And then the tickets are not too bad. They're only like 15 quid.
Well, don't they practically give away Blackburn tickets?
Well, kind of. It depends who's going after him if you think about it. But yeah, I'm a Blackburn fan, and I understand what you mean, Alex. Where you're saying like it takes a bit of a while to get their games, and I haven't gone to Blackburn for like for about a year or two now, just because it's just so far away.
You're not missing much.
Well, at the moment we got Paul Lambert in. We got the one and only Paul Lambert, and we conceded a last-minute goal yesterday against Sheffield Wednesday. But I think new areas rising. I think we're going to catch up to you, Alex, on top of the league.
Should never have gotten rid of Sam Allardyce.
No, we shouldn't have. I still can't believe to this day we could have Lewandowski on our side. You never know.
Oh yeah, could have genuinely. Could have had Zinedine Zidane as well, but who needs Zinedine Zidane when you got Tim Sherwood?
We have another Ches question. It's from Jack Bragg. I think this is quite an interesting one. I don't know how deep you want to delve into this, but he asked, what would you be doing if YouTube and or Twitch never existed?
This is a good question. Obviously, with my health situation, I probably wouldn't be... Well, I definitely wouldn't be in any sort of full-time work. YouTube and Twitch are kind of very unique in the way that it's one of the finite things that I could do for work whilst having the ME. Before I was ill, I was working at a telecommunications company that now sponsors Cambridge United kit. It's on the back of the Cambridge United kit. It's a company called Superior. They make police radios, and I used to test police. Like they get sent back to the company when they were broken, get fixed, and then I'd test them before they got sent back out again. And I'd probably still be there. My dad worked in a different department, and the plan always was, when I was younger, to start where I started in a different department, then eventually work under my dad. So I'd probably still be there, just in a different role, under my dad at Superior, if YouTube and Twitch hadn't existed, and or if I hadn't fallen ill with the ME. But YouTube and Twitch is probably, well, it is the perfect job for me right now, and even if I wasn't ill, it'd still probably be the perfect job.
Yeah, I went to ask you that. Would you describe it as the perfect job? Because I know yourself, you're uploading 2 videos a day, you stream the NFL every night. Like, that's a lot of work to go into that. But I guess you love it, don't you? So it kind of
it's fantastic.
Doesn't feel so much.
It is brilliant. Like it all depends on like what you enjoy doing anyway. And I'd be playing FIFA anyway if it weren't work. I was playing video games anyway before I started YouTube and Twitch, consistently in all my free time. So to be able to do that for work is an absolute godsend.
It is definitely.
Yeah, I do find YouTube, and especially you do Twitch as well, you're obviously doing it full time, to even make enough money to do it as full time, it is literally a 24-hour job, or every really second that you're awake, it is your job. I don't think people
realise that, do they? I don't think people realise how difficult YouTube and Twitching is.
It's not hard work in a sense that, you know, physical labour is hard work. Yeah. It's not hard work, but you work hard. Yeah. And there is a distinct difference between the two that people sometimes aren't able to make the correlation between them. I think you just sit there playing video games all day. When really, the amount of time that you play FIFA compared to the amount of time you spend making content, you're probably only playing FIFA like 30% of the time is spent playing video games. The rest of it is all spent editing content and commentating and doing all the other production that you need to do to actually run a YouTube
That's what
Twitch
a lot of
channel.
people don't realise, don't they? It's I think now whenever I make say a career mode video, you've got 3 games in there or something, you've got a little bit over, I think about an hour plus, just something like that, if you're to actually just record the video, and then for about 2 to 3 hours later you're editing, so it's literally a quarter of the time you're only playing FIFA. It's not a lot at the end
I
of
mean,
the day.
I sleep about 10 to 12 hours a night every night,
Yeah.
and it's literally the case of wake up, turn the computer on, work, eat, work, stream, eat, work, sleep, and that's been the routine for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you get 2 videos out every single day without fail and stream most days. How
Almost
long
every
have you
night,
been doing that? Have you broken the upload streak anytime recently or anything?
The upload streak was broken once about 3 weeks ago, but I've been able. Streaming's not been like I try and stream every single day if I can, and I've been doing that. I couldn't stream until we moved houses and we had to get fibre optic internet, but I started almost exactly 12 months ago, probably about 11 months ago to the day or something, and I'd say I probably missed maybe 2 weeks worth of streams in terms of evenings, but other than that,
incredible effort. That really is
streaming every night, and I've been uploading 2 videos a day every day for about 18 months.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. Like, honestly, you are like, I talk to you on a level as a friend, but I do look up to the way that you have done your YouTube in the past 2 years or so since I've started talking to you, and it is awesome to have you on the show. Yeah, I was going to segue into a new question, but it's also tied to the YouTube topic. People asked your YouTube name, where did it come from, and how did you get into YouTube? Maybe
YouTube
try
name?
and cut it down, keep it pretty brief.
I've been called Ches for years because when I was younger, I looked a lot like the character Chesney Battersby from Coronation Street. So that's where Ches came from, and it was a friend's ex randomly once called me ChesLloyd with an L, and then that became Chesnoid with an N, and then it just kind of stuck for YouTube. I just kind of was like, well, why not? ChesnoidGaming, there you go, channel name.
I always find it interesting because we always ask YouTubers these questions, where did your name come from? Because sometimes the story they tell, it's like you just told us, right? So they reckon you look like someone on Coronation Street, then your ex's missus or something called you this, and then you come up with our name. I can't remember who come up with it before. I think we had KSI on at one point, and he was telling us how his name actually works. So like KSI's a clan.
Yeah, it was a Halo clan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And his name, and then his internet provider.
Yeah, his internet provider. Like, it's ridiculous, and it's true. I always find an interesting question where you get your name from. Like, I nicked mine. There was someone called Welsh Dragon on literally PlayStation, so I decided to borrow it.
I literally used a random word generator and picked 2 words.
Really?
Yeah, to try and make something that sounded cool to make a channel. But yours has come around really lucky as well recently because of the no identity stuff. I don't know if you want to give a plug because you've recently launched it.
Well, I recently launched a t-shirt range. Well, t-shirt range 2, a black and white one. But I took the NOID from Chesnoid and transformed it into no ID or no identity, just to give it, so it's kind of, it's not like a cheesy YouTuber t-shirt that says like, oh, Finwish or something like that across it. But it appeals, the plan is that it appeals to a wider audience. Someone would be like, that's a nice logo and a nice tee, I might like to get one of those.
That's kind of cool. I didn't actually notice that because I actually just watched your announcement video of the t-shirt, and I actually didn't notice that until you just mentioned it.
That it was the no ID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the origin of it. That's where it came from, the no identity.
That's pretty sweet. That's a nice little thing, especially when you explain it. You'd be like, oh, did you come up with that? Well, it's just like, it's from my name. It's a simple.
Yeah. But it's got the potential to be a brand in its own right. I think. I hope.
It does. I like it.
Hopefully,
it's really
fingers
nice.
crossed.
Do you kind of hope for stuff to happen like that? Do you think
definitely.
you could kind of branch off into different industry?
Well, it's always nice to have a finger in lots of different pies, as they say. So if YouTube or Twitch ever falls apart, if I've got a half decent clothing brand set up, then maybe you could venture off into that, or maybe use the no identity name for a couple of other things further down the line. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a good thing, and especially if you're starting a merch. If you start, like, I know you've done it as well yourself, Alex, haven't you? You've kind of done your own, and it's related to your name, but you can wear it as like a normal T-shirt as well, can't it? Which is kind of the best thing with it. And you never know. Obviously, like we mentioned, if it comes up and YouTube doesn't exist one day, you always have this backup, and it's like one day you never know. You could see No Identity shirts in a shop or whatnot.
Who knows? That would be the end goal, I suppose, with the clothing range. Would be to either have, maybe even you could create your own branch or so.
Yeah. Do you have kind of any ambitions with like YouTube and stuff, or you just kind of go?
I don't really. I mean, it just kind of came out of nowhere. I started it as a hobby because I wasn't doing anything else because of the health, and then it's just kind of taken off from there, and it's given me the opportunity to earn a full-time income and help pay bills, etc., and actually do adult stuff. So I don't know. I don't really have any goals, just for it to continue as long as it possibly can, and then just considering I don't know how long I'm going to be unwell for and how much money I'm going to need for the rest of my life, the longer that I can be actually earning a full-time income. Because if YouTube and Twitch goes away, there aren't really any other opportunities for me to actually earn an income. So I'm effectively just saving the fuck out of every single penny I earn to hopefully help me through the rest of life.
Chatterbait. Do you remember the... Oh, I just hit my mic. I am a bad YouTuber. Do you remember that COD YouTuber who got found on Chatterbait?
That COD YouTuber that got found on Chatterbait, was that, what, JX23?
No, that was the cucumber story. That's a whole different thing.
Oh, well, no, what's
But
who
that was
got caught on-
amazing.
What's Chatterbait, anyway?
Oh, is this I think I know you want, but go on, carry on.
It's quite self-explanatory. Chat is in a chat room, video call, like chat roulette.
Yeah.
Turbate, you basically stream yourself downstairs department.
Yeah.
And there was a COD YouTuber, I can't remember what his name was. He was a popular YouTuber, he was doing like tips videos and stuff, and he was sort of in the realms of like Woody's gamer tag and stuff like that, you know, in the same sort of vein as that. And he got, because he did face cam as well, he did like vlogs, and then somebody like came across him, maybe not literally, probably the bad word to use.
Yeah, could have phrased that better.
but found him on that website and ruined his YouTube career. And I think he also got like thrown out of college or something, or he was in like the Navy or something in the US. And like his commander found him. It was ridiculous.
How have you gone on to this, Alex?
I
This is
don't
a brand new
know.
thing. I'm like,
There's a tangent.
We was talking about if YouTube and Twitch was to go
Yeah,
away,
yeah.
what could you delve into?
what?
Not Chatterbait, evidently.
Chez-Debate. That's what I was setting
Really?
up.
That's where it came from, wasn't it?
That's where it was going, but it was quite a long tangent.
There's a big leap there. There's a big leap from doing
Yeah.
FIFA videos to getting your knob out on the internet. There is quite a jump.
That is quite a leap.
Probably
Like,
not something I'm thinking about branching out into, I'll be honest.
At least a 6-inch leap, I guess. So, I think we should maybe move on.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh,
Let's
man.
move on. I don't know how to come back from that, if I'm truthfully honest, without being so random. But Joe Ward asked on Twitter, do you have a chat bait account? No. But he said, right, we're approaching halfway in the league now. Can we have a table prediction? So, top three. Who do you think is going to be your top three in the league, Premier League? Any ideas, or is this
I
someone
mean,
that you would like?
City are going to be up there just because they have the squad to be able to do it and consistently do it at a high level. Chelsea won't be in the top three.
Do you reckon they'll get top four? Chelsea?
I don't know. I hope so. But I think the best we can hope for is to do a Dortmund and to just have a solid second half of the season. Maybe make the Europa League. I think it may be even better to not make the Europa League and maybe finish 7th or 8th and then just solely be able to concentrate on the league the season after that. Like
probably will win the
Liverpool
league,
did
wouldn't
when
they?
they finished second.
Yeah.
Only
Especially
we'd
with the
actually
fixture congestion that the
not
Europa
slip.
League brings. It
Yeah.
is so many more games, it's ridiculous.
It's awful. The fixture congestion is absolutely terrible.
Honestly, I don't see why. The way that Leicester are going at the minute, they could get into that 4th spot if they keep it up. I think it's going to be a
don't see any
really
problem with that whatsoever, no.
a low-scoring points-wise league, because it already is. And Spurs under Pochettino are looking really good, especially with Dele Alli and Eric Dier. rise into sort of prominence in the starting 11 recently, they are looking a very strong side as well. And Harry Kane is banging in the goals finally this season.
I was kind of hoping he was going to be a one-season wonder, but he kind of isn't. But I mean, he didn't really get going last year until this sort of part of the year. He wasn't in the first team at the beginning of the season. They were still playing at Adebayor. And then he just kind of got a run in the first team, scored a couple of goals, and took off from there. And it took him, 3-4 months to get going this season as well. But clearly he is now back in the run of things, and maybe might have just as good a scoring season as he did last year.
Well, Van Gaal come out and said that Leicester can actually win the league. Is that a bit far-fetched, you reckon?
I think eventually fatigue will get the better of the squad.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the depth to last a full 38-game season. But fair play to Ranieri for doing what he's been doing at Leicester so far. They've just tactically worked perfectly. You've got defend, counter Mahrez Vardy goal. And it's been working perfectly. Sunderland did it, say 4 or 5 years ago when they had Darren Bent and Asamoah Gyan up top. Sunderland played the same sort of way. Just sit behind the ball and then just sprint at pace. And then
I think when Bruce was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, Steve Bruce was there at the time.
Steve Bruce was there, yeah.
Steve Bruce, what a man. I think Leicester, their shortcoming this season will probably be Jamie Vardy will eventually slow down with his goals. And they score so many goals and they're conceding so many goals. Once that goal tally from Jamie Vardy and others like Mahrez, who was incredible at the weekend, once they start hitting less form, the goals are still going to be shipping from opponents, especially the way
3-2 wins turn into 2-1 defeats.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head with that. And I think that's their downfall. I think Man City will probably win it, mainly not due to Pellegrini, mainly due to just the world-class players that they've got. Kevin De Bruyne, Aguero.
They're too good not to, put it that way.
Will carry them over. But I don't really think Pellegrini's doing too well, to be honest.
But I was just looking at the league now. The league is actually a lot closer than I thought. 14
it's
games
great.
in, and I think the top 4 are separated by 2 points, and then the top 5 are by 4 points. So it's like Man City,
really close.
Leicester, United,
It's wide
Arsenal.
open as well, because the teams at the bottom, like 15th, 16th, all of them sides below that are dog shit, absolute dog shit. So it's going to be a fun relegation battle to watch. And the Champions League, Europa League, and maybe even the title could be wide open in the last month or two still.
Yeah, it seems to be separated into 3 parts at the minute, doesn't it? You have literally top, middle, and bottom. That's what it seems to look like right now.
Yeah, you got like the Manchester sides and Arsenal and Tottenham and Liverpool as like the top 6-ish. Yeah. And then you get sides like Stoke and Southampton and Watford that maybe might push for a Europa League spot. But I think West Ham and Palace might be too strong. Yeah. And then you've just got the absolute shite that is Arsenal. Not Arsenal, although, lol, I've said that too many times. Aston Villa and Newcastle. And Bournemouth try and play good football, but they try and play good football and get beaten.
I think unfortunate with Bournemouth, I don't think they have that Premier League side just yet. Like,
it's a shame they lost Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd be doing better than they are right now, I think.
And Gradle as well. He was a big signing, injured straight away.
And Tyrone Mings as well. They've not had much luck with knee injuries.
Spent a bomb on Tyrone Mings as well.
Well, right, and so if we go with one, who's going to win the league? Man City, you said. City. Right. Who's going to get relegated if we go bottom?
Aston Villa, Newcastle, Sunderland. Deal. Done.
Yeah, I think Sunderland could possibly escape it, but I think them 3 as well, to be honest.
Yeah. So you reckon Bournemouth will they'll somehow just hop everyone?
It will be Bournemouth or Sunderland in the 3rd spot, I think. Okay. Sam Allardyce may be able to strengthen Sunderland in. That's the thing. It depends what happens in January. If someone goes out and buys 2 or 3 top players, not necessarily top players, but players that are effective enough to change a system, then there's no reason why Sunderland can't stay up.
We already know Newcastle won't do that as well. It'd be miraculous if they did.
Newcastle are awful.
They can't, especially with the board. Their board just won't spend the money anyway. They don't care. They just collect the money.
Mike actually doesn't give a shit about that football club, I swear. No. And Aston Villa are lost. 5 points from 13 games.
14 now.
14 games. It's gone. No, they're gone. I'm sorry, it's too late. They may
It is a shame because Villa, they've always been in what is now known as the Premier League, and it'll be the first
When I was
relegation.
growing up, Martin O'Neill was there, and they were finishing in UEFA Cup spots, year in, year out. And David O'Leary as well went from Leeds to Villa, or vice versa. I can't quite remember, but he did okay for Villa as well. And then since Paul Lambert was there, the past 4 or 5 years, it's just been relegation battle after relegation battle after relegation battle. And they can't seem to get out of that mindset almost. The entire club is just used to being in a relegation battle.
I remember saying that they shouldn't have brought in Paul Lambert to Aston Villa. Like, he had a good I think he had a good season previously, didn't he, with Norwich? And I think that's the issue a lot of teams make, because a team like Norwich, when they did come in, and their manager seems to do well with him as a one-season wonder, doesn't mean he's going to do the exact same as Aston Villa at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened. It happens all the time, and you see it constantly in the Premier League. Always happens.
Clubs take a gamble on a manager and it just doesn't work.
No. How do you think Remy's going to get on at Villa? Do you reckon he's just doomed
I
for
don't know much
Championship football?
about him, to be honest. I genuinely don't know much about him, but just the inexperience in that squad, even though the squad's been together for 4 years or so.
Yeah.
Like when Paul Lambert was there, everyone was like, well, he's got a really young squad with like Nathan Baker, etc., and Kieran Clark and these players. They'll get better as time goes on, as they get more experience, and time has gone on. They've gotten more experience, and they've got 5 points after 14 games with the same squad. And even they've added to it with Scott Sinclair and Jordan Ayew and Micah Richards, and they're still awful. They're just not good enough for the Barclays Premier League, IMO.
I think they're going to be one of those teams which actually, I don't know with Villa, but in a way you have those teams which are not good enough for the Premier League, but they are too good for the Championship. It's kind of like the situation with like Hull, like they gone down and literally top the league straight away. Near enough. It's same with like QPR and stuff like that. It's the exact same scenario. But anyway, guys, let us know in the comment section below. Let us know who do you think is going to win the league and who's getting relegated. It's kind of the big question. We are halfway through the season now. We might come back to it when the season finishes, see if there's a little bit of prediction, see if we nailed it or not. But anyway,
We'll be so wrong.
We all look like fools when Liverpool get relegated. And
Season 1 Back in the Net podcast last season, Sammy said Southampton would get relegated.
And it finished like
Lol.
fifth. yeah. That's why he's not here today. He's too embarrassed.
But everybody did expect that. Not necessarily expect them to get relegated, but when they sold Lovren and Lambert and Lallana,
Such a
everyone was like,
massive.
Southampton are gonna struggle.
The spine of the side went, and they brought in equally, if not probably better for them, really. The way that
I
they've
think
just
keeping
constantly
Schneiderlin was massive for them.
constantly
For that 1 extra
turned
year.
around players is incredible.
Mate, that's how you do football, innit? With Southampton, you lose players and they somehow just bring in.
Just
these...
replace him with
Yeah.
other youngsters that are good enough, like James Ward-Prowse, etc.
Yeah, Southampton's always had a good young side. But anyway, right, guys, let us know below who's going to win the league, who's getting relegated, and let's move on to a bit of FIFA news.
This is the Back in the Net podcast in partnership with SweetPatch.tv.
So recently, there's been a few stuff floating around with FIFA 17, right? It's been predictions, it's been wish lists and stuff like that. But you thought, you know what? We all have a bit of career mode in this podcast this week. So why don't we bring you guys a bit of a wish list? Let's bring you what we want to see in career mode, what we think a bit of career mode this year. Is it still the same old crap this year as well? Are they going to bring in anything new? So I don't know who wants to kick this off. Have anyone got an idea they want to bring to FIFA 17?
I can kick it
No
off if you
fixture
want me to.
congestion.
Yes.
Fixture
I know,
congestion is
yeah.
for like 5 years. You've been getting games on back-to-back days, or 3 games in 3 days, or 3 games in 4 days. It's too much. It's so frustrating when trying to put together a YouTube series. Like if you were doing something off camera, then you just make do, or you'd simulate a game or something. But when you're trying to make an entertaining series, doesn't work.
It's ridiculous, especially I have experienced this with the fixture issue, and it's like I can't rest enough players. Like all my players are knackered. What do you even want me to do?
And then you get injuries because everybody's tired,
Yeah,
and then you're in even worse shape.
yeah. It happens literally every time, and it's a strange thing. And I'm always surprised that EA can't fix something like that.
I mean, it doesn't even need them to fix something with some sort of algorithm. Just give you the ability to manually rearrange fixtures within a certain set of parameters. Like, not move a game from the first week to the last week, but if you have the freedom to take a fixture from a Thursday and play it on a Friday, or from a Monday and play it on a Saturday earlier, so that you've got time to rest for a Wednesday European game, then why not let you do that rather than being like, no, you're having this fixture here and you're having this fixture on the very next day and there's nothing you can do about it. And oh shit, both of your best players have got broken legs and are out for 8 months each. Sorry.
So actually, I didn't realise you was on about doing it manually, and I think manually is just a better option, isn't it? It's just
rather than people do it themselves.
Yeah, rather than relying on EA, because let's be honest, we don't know what can happen. You might think they fixed everything, but then all of a sudden, something happens.
So you see games like Football Manager, they can rearrange a fixture list and you don't have games on back-to-back days.
Yeah,
it's not hard.
Yeah.
The way that the announcement of FIFA 16 Career Mode came out and the new additions, it was exciting, it brought the hype back, but yet again this year it's just another reskin really, with training added on and a few little menu screens in-game, which is really frustrating. And I think that they need to change the algorithm for what you said, like the fixtures, but also the scripted transfers are beyond a joke. And they said that they refined them for this year, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
They've just changed the players around.
This player going here, he's going there instead. I've done, including Twitch series, 5 different saves so far. Alaba's gone to Juventus 4 times. Thomas Muller's gone to Manchester City 3 times. Edinson Cavani's gone to Dortmund 4 times. Thomas
Cavani
Muller always
goes
Bayern
to
Munich.
United.
Neuer goes to Barcelona. Benzema goes to Chelsea or Manchester City again.
Yeah.
It's like, come on! Like, how hard can it be to just let something be dynamic? And they've almost purposefully done it even more so, because they've added in all the extra graphics and stuff and all the extra commentary lines. They're tied in to the scripted transfers. They're like, oh, Thomas Muller has moved to Manchester City for around £40 million. What do you think of that deal, Annan? And he comes out with some spiel about Thomas Muller going to Manchester City.
So every single transfer is forced into your game save.
They expect you to do one save all season and be like, oh, this is fantastic. And it would be if you were just doing the one save in a 12-month period. You'd be like, oh, brilliant. But then you end up playing the same teams again and again, regardless of the team that you're playing with.
I don't understand why EA think that everyone will stick to one save. Like, I won't lie as well. One issue I've had with career mode, I've had it over the years, is that when you get so into so many seasons, it becomes laggy, just in the menus and stuff.
The menus, yeah.
Yep.
The moment you get to, actually, it started around season 3 this year.
Season 3.
Around season 3.
I'm having it in season 2.
Yeah,
the Chelsea save.
It's ridiculous. I don't understand how that happens, and it's frustrating. It's like, why am I lagging? I'm offline.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem. Like, even trying to, where you got the view top goal scorer and all that. Just before
scrolling through that.
Yeah.
Last on FIFA 15, when I finish the season, I always do like a season roundup video and go through all the various different competitions and see how people did.
You can barely make it through the league table.
Season 5 or season 6 onwards, you try and scroll from like domestic competitions into Europe, and it just freezes. You could not see what happened in the Champions League and the Europa League. It was impossible. It would just freeze, and you just couldn't view the competition.
But the strange thing as well, back in like FIFA 09, FIFA 10, well, from my experience, that was all fine. That was never an issue. Right? I used to complete a full career mode back then, and it was like not a single bit of lagginess. It was all fine. There was no issues. No fixture issues either. I can't, from what I remember. I remember it was like a budget glitch, but that was just random. But back then, that was all fine. But all of a sudden now, even it's getting worse every year. It's like season 2, as you mentioned, in the Chelsea save, season 3 for me, and it's like, what on earth is going on? How can I lag offline?
I mean, the game is more complex, and there's clearly more data being transferred, and just there's more hardware or more computing power needed to run the game. But we just had a brand new generation of consoles.
Yeah, we're on next gen, and we're 3 game titles into the next gen FIFA series, and
they're still not
refined.
optimized at all.
Yeah, I think maybe instead of just moaning at what EA don't do, we could bring our own ideas into this topic. For my career mode series, I was thinking something. You guys might have saw Masterbook said in one of his videos. He's quite a controversial player, YouTuber. Sorry, he said, "Should we pay to play career mode?"
Nope.
No, but sort of different topic. I think a whole new sort of career mode could come in with Ultimate Team and its legends. They've got the rights, the licenses to them legends. Why can't we have scenarios like in FIFA 17 career mode where we can go and play, say, Man United like treble, or can we go and play Arsenal Invincible season, and we are manager and have to fulfill that target? I think with them players coming in,
like
that would
having
be
the World
really...
Cup DLC and European DLC and stuff like that, where they get the scenarios in. Yeah, maybe.
I did a series a couple of years ago. It was called Recreating History. I used to use a creation centre, and I would recreate a season. I did the
creation
season.
centre has just been removed. Why?
Yeah, they got
it
rid
was
of
one
it.
of the
It's
best things about old gen, and it is literally
It's gone
just
off old
gone.
gen now as well. It's
Yeah.
gone off old gen this year. So
It's that there's no clubs on old gen
no,
for the past
there's
2
not.
years, is there?
No,
They're almost trying to force people to buy next gen consoles. It's like, oh, we don't care about that console anymore, even though millions of people
Everyone
still have
is. Black Ops 3
yeah, it doesn't have a campaign, does
No.
it? Black Ops 3.
and
What,
multiplayer
it doesn't
looks
have
ridiculously
campaign?
bad.
No,
on
not.
old gen.
No.
Doesn't have it.
That's madness. Like, how can they get away with that? How can game
It's half a
development
game
companies
for
get
still
away with
full
that?
price. It's half a game for full price. And one thing as well, we brought it up last week on the podcast about EA not bringing up any more updates for FIFA 16 on previous gen. So they bring them out slower and slower. So when we get an update on Xbox One, the 360 won't see it at all for like a good couple of months, or they see something very dimmed down. So there's this idea coming in by FIFA 17. The game you pay for at the start on 360 and PS3 is going to game you the game that will be the game you have all year. There'll be no updates other than transfers.
That's ridiculous. That's like going back to the PS2 days.
Yeah. It's just
No.
Because there are still millions of people that only have 360 and PS3.
Yeah.
Like, it's not every household that can afford a next gen console for £300+ and £60 per game, every game, regardless of however many you buy.
And the thing is, arguably, the 360 is still better than the Xbox One, like for the sort of dashboard wise and things like that.
The Xbox One's still horrible. Even with the new update, I don't like it. Like the Xbox One, Xbox 360 Dash was perfect. They'd refined it brilliantly.
Yeah.
And they've just gone back to the square one with the Xbox One.
Yeah. Should we move on to positive things? Because I know.
Yeah, go on then. We apparently really like moaning today.
Yeah, we are a bit in a moany mood. Right, okay, we are on about bringing in new ideas and whatnot. Alex, you mentioned the scenario mode. Let's talk a bit about positive on that, because we went on a bit of a tangent with it. With that idea, is it kind of career mode, or is it just a bit of a segment type thing?
I think it should be a whole ability to do a career mode, or maybe even create your own storylines, and they can go into maybe like, you remember old school Ultimate Team where you'd have like the collection book or something?
Yeah.
Maybe if you could have some sort of like trophy cabinet or like history books for your career mode. I think that'd be really good.
I said about not moaning, but they got rid of all like the trophy cabinet type feature and stuff that we had years and years ago. Like, that's annoying.
It just gets stripped of more and more features, but there are more pixels on the screen, so it looks pretty, so you should enjoy it just as much.
And then they'll bring back the features 3 years later.
Yeah.
Hey, trade offers for Ultimate Team. Remember those?
Do you remember?
New feature. It's like, no, it's not a new feature. You just gave us something back that you stole from us before.
Yeah, exactly. So, right, other than scenarios, so an idea that I've had, which I've had for, I think I created it 2 years ago, is an idea called story mode. To kind of start off with, you get randomly assigned to a team, you have a reputation, a world reputation, you have like a club reputation type thing, and you have to build that up, and like the higher your rating goes, the different offers that come in for you, rather than just, obviously you pick a 5-star team or something, rather than doing that, you kind of go, right, here's 5 teams, matching your star rating, you pick one, you do basically like a road to glory, but as a manager rather than as a team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, like you have a managerial career rather than you play as a team for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's built around. It could be built around the whole idea that a manager will move on from club to club in a space of 10 to 15 years. You might be a manager at 4 or 5 different clubs in that time span. Well, Sam Allardyce been at Newcastle, been at Blackburn, been at West Ham, and now at Sunderland.
Yeah, so it's more focused on yourself, like how Football Manager is, where
Yeah.
that is a true football simulation game, whereas this is you're the team. You're not really a manager in sort of any sense of the word, apart from transfers.
Because it's called a manager mode, right? You click either player or you click manager. It's one or the other. Is this something that EA should bring in to kind of revitalise this boring career mode that we've had for the last few years, or something like that?
I think in a perfect world, it's possible to do. I don't think in any way it would happen at all. EA, FIFA themselves used to have a version, or I don't even know if they still create it, of sort of Football Manager, their
FIFA
own
Manager.
version. Yeah,
I don't
if
know
you
if
was
it's still being made, but
if you was able to have Football Manager on your PC, do everything that you can, and then take the game into FIFA and play the actual 6-minute aside thing yourself, that'd be incredible.
That's what I think. That would be the perfect game. You have all of the simulation that you have on FM, and then you play the games yourself on FIFA. That would be the perfect football game. But there's no incentive for EA to do it because Ultimate Team makes them billions a year, and
I think a story
It's just
came out
no
about
point.
that. Like, they literally made a couple of million within one evening. I think there was like something special happening. They made a couple of million in one evening. So I think I do think career mode's just, we won't tangent on this a bit any longer, but do you think career mode is a bit of it's there because FIFA has to have career mode? That's the only reason.
Yeah, you have to have something to play offline, because in this day and age, I don't know who doesn't have internet, but if you didn't have internet, if you didn't have career mode, you'd literally just be playing kickoff, and that's it.
yeah, it's like a hark back to the old FIFAs. Like FIFA always was career mode. That was the big appeal of playing FIFA. And now Ultimate Team is a big appeal of playing FIFA. But there's a generation of gamers that have been with the FIFA franchise for 10, 15 years that want that career mode experience.
Yeah.
So they can't just drop it, and they just keep sprinkling hundreds and thousands on top of rotten ice cream, trying to make you still take a lick every year. And it just eventually it's just getting more and more sour as the taste in your mouth gets worse.
I think career mode's lost that value in it now. I think that's the way to put it. It's the fact that when I used to play career mode back in like FIFA 9, FIFA 10, or even 11, it was like, oh, this is amazing. No, I'm happy to play for hours and hours on end. And now for some reason it's just like, oh, it's a bit boring. I've done this training session, and like, what else am I meant to do? There's no variety with it. And yeah, and one thing as well, we'll move on from this, but if you ever did a goalkeeper player career mode, there's actually only 3 training sessions you can do in total.
I haven't even touched that.
Yeah.
I'd rather just watch paint dry, to be honest.
Yeah, every now and again you'll get a comment and someone will be like, oh, you should do a goalkeeper player career mode. That sounds boring as shit.
It is, because the AI is shit as well. It's the more you just sat
awful
there
this year. Worse than normal. Like, you could genuinely play a game on Legendary as we just watch AI play AI, and there'll be a shot a game.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
It is bad. But guys, let us know below. What do you want to see in FIFA 17? Career mode, Ultimate Team. We don't want to talk about Ultimate Team. Let us know in career mode. What do you want to see? Is there anything new? Or is career mode just, that's it? We've had it. That's it now for the next
We
few
just
years.
want more detail, I think.
Yeah. I think it's simple,
just more
isn't it?
detail. Like,
I say simple, but
contracts and stuff like that. Like, yeah, great, we can offer them a player, but could we maybe try and get a player in return? What about release fee clauses? What about appearance fees and unused substitute fees and stuff like that? You could get a player that you can't genuinely afford to pay him 20 grand a week, but if you can give him 10 grand a week plus a £2,000 appearance fee, he might be willing to move. But you can't do
like
that.
a pay-as-you-play deal or something, like you see so many veterans do. Like, maybe if you get a few years in and you've got Yaya Toure, who's like aged 35 but he's still like 82 overall, but he's got crap fitness, maybe you can do a pay-as-you-play deal where you're still offering money, but you only play him in your big games once or twice a month.
I think contracts do need a massive improvement, though, to be honest. They do. It's literally you either accept and you offer them a player. They don't counter either. It's like, I give you an offer. Why can't you negotiate with me? This is the
They
whole
always
point.
like if you offer someone is on 30 grand a week, and you try and buy them, and they say they want 70 grand a week, they won't accept anything less than £68,000 a week. There is no negotiation with a contract whatsoever. Or you'll have a player at your team. They'll be like, you know what? I think I deserve a wage rise. I'm on 50 grand. I want 130. You only offered me 110. I'm not going to sign that contract, even though it's £60,000 a week more. And now I want a transfer, please.
And one thing that bugs me with that feature we mentioned, they come in asking a new contract, is when players that don't actually play will come in and say, I want more money. It's like, mate, you haven't played. I'm just going to let your contract run out. Like, you have not even played a single match, and you're moaning about the wage. It's ridiculous. But anyway, guys, let us know below. What do you want to see in FIFA 17? We was trying to get positives out of it, but it kind of turned into a bit of a
bitch fest.
Yeah, a bitch fest of EA. But EA, we truly love you. But anyway, guys, let us know below. Anyway, let's move on to some real-life football.
This is part of the podcast where we talk about real-life football and pretend that we know what we're talking about. Welcome to the Back of the Net podcast. Real-life football.
Yeah, I think we can wrap things up here as we've taken a long time to talk. Obviously, myself, Ches, Dan, we are all career mode YouTubers here mainly, so that's what we focused on, which I think was the only real thing to do. So I think we'll wrap things up with our accumulator feature here, and we have more of a realistic one. You know, sometimes for an accumulator you end up going a bit mental like I do. Yesterday I had a 13-fold on 189 to 1 odds. One team, Chesterfield, let me down.
It's a killer.
It's a killer. So our accumulator, we have 4 games for you guys. £10 stake returns £87. This is on Betfair.
On just
obviously.
a 4-fold?
Yeah,
That's
we're playing it
decent odds
safe.
for just a
Playing
4.
it safe. 8.7 to 1 odds. Obviously, I think I'd probably say Bet365 if you're gonna bet somewhere, have the better odds. But I use Betfair for the simplicity. We don't obviously have a betting sponsor, but we're going
Feel free to
for.
get in contact with us so if you want to be our betting company.
Our first game on the 4-fold is Ches's Chelsea to beat Bournemouth. I think that's a nailed on. I think after last week, I think now they will hit Bournemouth. Just I don't think they've got enough quality to cause an upset.
With the way that the Everton game went this weekend, I don't know we could accurately predict what could happen in a game like that. But it's Chelsea versus Bournemouth. Like, you've got to go with the Chelsea win. Like, you couldn't put anything else on an accumulator in a game like that other than a Chelsea win.
Yeah. Our next game is Liverpool away from home under Klopp, looking revitalised against Steve McLaren's Newcastle, who are hilarious to watch at the moment. I feel so bad for Newcastle fans.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Whoever plays against Newcastle and whoever plays against Villa should be on everybody's accumulator every week at the minute.
But that game itself is getting you for decimal odds of 1.65. So obviously a pound would get you £1.65 back, which is decent for Liverpool versus Newcastle.
Yeah, for Liverpool away at Newcastle, that's not bad.
And then our last 2 we have picked from the Championship. The lower leagues are where you're going to make your money, guys. We've got Birmingham to beat Huddersfield. Huddersfield are in absolute shambles. That's at just over 2.05 if you're going for decimal odds. And we've got Burnley at 1.85 to beat Preston, who are down there near the bottom.
That's a big game, though, Burnley-Preston. That's a big derby. That's the sort of game that could go either way. It's like Preston-Blackpool or Burnley-Blackburn. Like, form book kind of goes out the window for games that size.
Yeah, it's just I've seen Huddersfield.
A lot of last-minute goals as well with those type of games, especially when Blackburn played Burnley recently over the last few years. It's literally, I think Blackburn won in the 85th minute about 2 years ago, and then Burnley have won the last 2, and they've gone. It's been very close to form does go out the window, like you mentioned.
But you would expect Burnley to beat Preston. Yeah,
especially at home. And I've seen all of these teams play this season. You know, Preston, Huddersfield, Hull, when they played at KC, we easily dismantled them. Birmingham to beat Huddersfield, I think they've got the quality, especially the youngsters in Damari Gray. And obviously Burnley, you've got Andre Gray, who can, I think, do the damage against Preston. So Yeah, £10 stake will return £87 if anybody wants to join in with the back of the net accumulator.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, as Alex mentioned, that is the end of week 3 of the Back of the Net podcast season 2. Chess, I want to say thank you very much for coming on. You've been
Thank you for having me. Appreciate that.
Been a pleasure of a guest. And Alex as well. Thank you for not sleeping. This is not very funny. Thank you.
I'm
very
back.
Much,
I am resurrected.
Well, after the chat that we had earlier, I'd let you know if it's resurrected. But anyway, guys, thanks for all coming in. Make sure you check us out on iTunes at BOTN Podcast. And also, if you want to subscribe to, follow us on Twitter, BOTN Network, BOTN Podcast. Oh my God, I got all the social media wrong. BOTN Podcast. Make sure you go check that out. And hey, it's a goodbye from me. Thanks for watching. It's a goodbye from Alex.
It's a goodbye from me. Goodbye. Take care of your face.
Take care of your face. And a goodbye from me. Thank you very much for having me, guys. Hope you've enjoyed.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
This is the Back of the Net podcast in partnership with sweetpatch.tv.